Hello, this is Simon Redfern at Pagefield.
And Tom Bage at Pagefield.
And we're just out here on the Pagefield veranda talking about chillaxing this week. It's been a real interesting political story about the Prime Minister and about what we want from our Prime Ministers, really. Do we want them to be machines like Gordon Brown, never stop working, 4 o'clock emails? Or do we want them to have families and kind of have, be able to switch off from the kind of political cut and thrust as well? I think it's a really big issue for us. And, poor David has been described as having a gold medal in chillaxing this week, which is a hideous term, a really naff term, but one that seems to have kind of got into the popular psyche as well.
I think there's a rather dangerous precedent with it all. Politics is perhaps not the most attractive career for lots of people, but the idea that as a politician you can't even relax with your family on Sunday afternoon, have a couple of glasses of wine with your dinner, play a bit of tennis, play Fruit Ninja on the iPad, all seems a little bit puritanical to me.
Yeah, the only thing about this is I think there's an underlying political menace here, which, no Prime Minister wants to be seen as weak. No Prime Minister wants to be seen as ill. If you go back through the kind of history of our Prime Ministers, someone like Anthony Eden, for example, he was genuinely ill. So much was done to cover up his illness, and the same with Churchill in the later days as well. So no Prime Minister can afford to be seen in that way. And I think this feels like a bit of an underhand effort from those on the right of the Conservative Party to start to depict Cameron in a particular way, which doesn't serve him necessarily in the wider country. I think a lot of people that have kids and families will totally respect the fact that he takes time out to be with them. It's pretty hard to do for most people these days, but I don't know, the fact that he's sort of repairing to Chequers and it's kind of does no work there, I think is probably more difficult for him.
It does have a bit of a loose air, which I think is probably worrying, obviously, particularly at a time when we've got such major economic problems. I think his line on Radio 4 a couple of weeks ago that it must be possible to be Prime Minister and also be a normal human being, and actually it's kind of spending time with your kids and your wife is one of those things that keeps you grounded in the real world. I thought that was kind of quite powerful, but how much emotional resonance that's going to have for someone who's lost their job, someone in the public sector who's taking a 2-year pay freeze, I don't know. It's really dangerous ground for him, I think.
Yeah, and the opposition clearly using it and revelling in it. You've got Ed Balls making kind of wine-drinking gestures in the chamber this week, and whether you think he's a muttering idiot or not, some of that stuff really hits home with Cameron and winds him up big style. So it's interesting. It's been an interesting week politically on that front. I still think it's yet to come out about who's briefing in terms of this story about Cameron and whether there'll be any more legs to that story over the next few weeks.